Hello there. What is going on, everybody? Today I'm bringing to you my what to buy first when on a budget when starting out in Star Wars Legions, specifically the Clone Wars Republic faction. So if the Clone Wars has maybe brought you into Star Wars Legion and you're looking to play some clones and some Jedi of the Galactic Republic and you're trying to figure out where to get started, this is a good place for you. I will also be doing a Separatist video, and I will make sure I put a link to that. So if you're interested in that sort of thing, I invite you to click that subscribe button down below and stay for a while and check out some more of the content. I also have videos for the Empire and the Rebellion. I update those about once a year or so, so this is going to be a preliminary video because as of right now, the Clone Wars is not officially out yet for Legion, and some of the things that I'm going to suggest are actually not out yet, and this is basically the best starting kind of planning guide for fourth quarter 2019 based on the information that we have now. There's going to be more things that come out after this video is published, so as 2020 approaches and we get more and more stuff, I will eventually be updating this video. So before you go any further, make sure you check down in the comments below or in the description to see if there is an updated version of this for 2020, because this game is a living game and there's always going to be more stuff to buy. Now, with all of that stuff out of the way, I also want to remind everybody about the giveaway for the Amazon gift card. You just have to be a subscriber, leave a comment on this or one of my videos. Let me know what your favorite Republic unit is down in the comments section. And I'll be announcing the winner for that next week. And if you don't win this one, there's always more giveaways. So what should you buy first when you're starting the Republic? Obviously, you need to get a core set. That is a given with any Fantasy Flight game. This is the box for the core set right here, and it's going to come with an awful lot of stuff. It comes with, General Grievous and Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's the only place to get them. It's also pretty much the only place to get them. It's going to come with 2 units of clone troopers and a bark speeder also for you. Not enough to play a full game. You will need more than this. A normal list is 800 points, and you're going to try to, you're going to want to be able to fill up an 800-point list. So my very second purchase, the very next thing I would suggest people get is another core set. 2 core sets will do a whole lot more for you than just give you a lot more stuff. Alternatively, if you have a friend who's also starting out and they want to play Separatists, you guys each buy one. You trade each other the other person's stuff. So you give them all your Separatists, they give you all your clones. You're good to go. If you do that, you'll probably need a couple more things like an extra dice pack, and it's a good idea to have some extra movement and range tools. Those things will sometimes break. But I think it's still a great value to get a second core set because you get so much extra stuff. So if you're only playing one faction, the best value is to split a core set with somebody else, and then you each buy one, so you have 2 core sets worth of stuff, because 2 core sets worth of clones can get you to 800 points once you put some upgrades on all the clones and Kenobi and your bark speeders, because you'll have 2 bark speeders, 4 clones, and 2 Kenobis. You can only use 1 Kenobi, but that can get you to 800 points. And that's where, the cheapest value comes in, and then we can begin to look at some other things that are going to add a whole lot of bang for your buck. So launching with the Clone Wars core set is the upgrade pack, and I'm going to suggest this as maybe your second purchase. Now, the upgrade pack is a great value. It's coming with a whole lot of stuff for a whole lot of factions, and this has upgrades that may have only been available for 1 faction or 2 factions, but not all factions. So it's got a lot of upgrade cards. There's going to be some cards in here you've already got in the Clone Wars core set, but there's going to be a lot of cards in here from the original core set, and also a lot of upgrade cards that were only found in Empire and Rebellion expansions in the past, and you don't want to have to go back and buy those old units, especially stuff that you're not going to use, to gain access to some of these things, like certain grenade types, certain equipment types, certain command cards are very, very good that you're just not really going to have access to. And so what this card pack is going to do is it's going to give you access to a ton of upgrades you wouldn't have otherwise had access to. Some of them will eventually show up in other expansions, and that's fine. But this is the first card pack that they've announced. I'm sure there will probably be more at some point, because it's just a great way to make sure that everybody's on the same sheet of music, and it's only $10. So as far as you've already spent $100 or $200 on 2 core sets, this is just $10, and it's giving you an awful lot of extra customization options for the army that you already have. So I think for value's sake, you're getting a tremendous value here. Next thing I'm going to suggest is another big value option, and that's going to be the Phase 1 Clone Troopers Upgrade expansion. This is a fairly cheap expansion. It's only $20 compared to, this significantly higher price tag of certain other expansions. And this one is not launching at the release of Clone Wars. So if you're watching this in like October 2019, this one might not be out yet. And as the time of me recording this video, it's not fully spoiled yet. So we don't know 100% of everything that's in here. But what this pack is doing is it's giving you new Phase 1 Clone Trooper upgrades, personnel, and heavy weapons. There's a lot of stuff in here that's going to augment your existing armies. You've already got presumably 4 units of clone troopers, and now you're going to get something new that you can add to each one of them, or maybe double up an extra personnel and an extra heavy weapons both into one unit. Additionally, this comes with 4 miniatures and a unit card, so in theory you can even field a 5th Phase 1 Clone Trooper Core unit, which will give you even more flexibility in design space. So now maybe you want to drop one Bark Speeder in favor of an extra Clone Trooper unit. And I just think it works really well here, because the whole idea of this is maybe you're going to take that extra spare trooper you had for a couple of other units, swap it out with maybe personnel here, personnel there, and you're going to be able to, you'll have enough minis left over to field an extra Clone Trooper unit. That works well for clone troopers because of the clone trooper subtype that allows them to share green tokens. So there is a lot of strategy in having some clone trooper units fully built out, and then some clone trooper units like with no upgrades. Because here's an example, an opportunity for you to maybe take this extra unit card, run 4 empty clone trooper upgrades, and have them be the ones that take an aim and a standby, and that just feed your more expensive clone trooper units. So it's just a really good value. And what I like about this is the price point is a little bit cheaper than a lot of the other expansions, and it's augmenting core units that you already have. So as far as budget is concerned, this one is giving you a lot of bang for your buck, because any Republic player who has bought at least 1 core set, presumably 2, is already going to have 4 Phase 1 Clone Trooper units, and this is upgrading those specifically. So that's awesome. Every faction is actually getting a type like this, and it's just, they make for an excellent buy. And it makes you also expect at some point that other core units might get something similar to this. But as of right now, for the Republic, it's just the Phase 1 Clone Trooper upgrade expansion. So definitely advising you to pick this one up. And next up is the first, Commander expansion, which is Clone Captain Rex. Clone Captain Rex looks just awesome. Not only is he a cheaper commander than Obi-Wan Kenobi, so you can now have some list diversity. You can run 2 commanders if you want, or if you want to just run a cheaper commander, maybe have that extra clone trooper, and and put a little bit more upgrades on some of your units, you might be able to do that. You'll have a little bit of extra diversity here. But Clone Captain Rex is also, well, I've already said it, but he's also a clone, which gives him a whole lot of different synergy with the clones. Obi-Wan is all about protecting the clones. Well, not all about, but he certainly has that mentality. And Clone Captain Rex here is going to be more of the, I am one of you, you're my brothers. And here, we can all share these tokens together. So he works really, really well with clones because he is a clone. And so any, of the clone officers, operatives, any future clones that they make are all going to benefit from the clone subtype. And clones get to share all their green tokens, which is a totally unique thing that only this faction is going to have access to. It's very, very cool. So, Clone Captain Rex giving you some new options for your list building. And also, he's cheap. He's $13, and he comes with the smoke grenade, which is one of the new things for the Clone Wars that don't come in the core set. So he's another, that's another cool thing, but again, he's not launching at the launch of the Clone Wars core set. So if you're watching this right away, you may have to wait a little bit on Clone Captain Rex. All right, now I'm getting into like the lower tiered things, and you may agree to disagree on some of the stuff, but this is some of the stuff that's like, all right, now you got through that. That was maybe the first set. Like if you had enough, budget to get a couple of expansions, I would say get the ones that I've already got. Now we get into the things that are maybe not quite as good for somebody on a budget. And then I'm going to go with the TX-130 Saber class fighter tank. Now, the tank is awesome. It's huge, it's beautiful, and you're thinking, why wouldn't you want to just get this first? By the way, let me caveat this whole list, and I'm doing the caveat here in the middle. If you really like this, then disregard what I have to say. If you love something and that's what's going to make you happy, then get that first. Absolutely, this is something you could totally get first if you really, really like this tank. But as far as my general recommendation, it's kind of expensive and it's only one unit. It's $60, and in the past, now it's not out yet, it hasn't even been fully spoiled yet, so a lot of this video is kind of prediction based on trends and based on what we do know. So the TX-130 Saber class tank looks like it's going to give you some cool stuff. There's some different Jedi that can even like be, leading the battle from inside the tank and helping out with that, which is a lot of fun. I believe you're getting Plo Koon and Ayala Secura, which is very cool, that are going to be coming with this pack. And it's going to be really, really fun. But based on how Legion has kind of been in the past, those first heavy, armored units ended up not really performing that well. And as a result, that's why this one is ranking lower in this list. Also, the fact that it's kind of expensive. It's $60. And it has a very, very, very large base, which may make moving it around the battlefield a lot more difficult. We're going to have to see, though. This may change when I update this list for 2020. It may move much higher on my recommendations, kind of based on how it actually plays once it does come out, because, again, this is not out yet. And then, additionally, once it's fully spoiled, because there are some things we just don't know about what comes in this expansion pack yet. But based on what we do know, this is where I'm ranking it, kind of in the middle. Shouldn't be one of your first buys because it's so darn expensive, but it'll be a lot of fun, and it's opening up a whole different unit type for you. After this, I'm going a little bit further down. I'm going to recommend the Phase 2 Clone Troopers a little bit farther, closer towards the end. The Phase 2 Clone Troopers, they're not bad. They're just, I feel like for their price point, you're not getting a whole lot of new stuff to add to your army here. And what I mean by that is they're $35 for this expansion. $35 MSRP or $34.99. So what do you really get? I mean, they're not that different. At least, when we look at the unit card, they don't appear to be all that different from the Phase 1 Clone Troopers. The big distinction is that they get a free Surge token, which is great. I mean, that's not bad, but I don't think it makes them feel different enough. I think because there's command cards. You can give Obi-Wan Kenobi the ability to give four Phase 1 Clone Troopers potentially a Surge token. And so I just feel like, well, are you really giving out that many? Maybe not 4 Phase 1, but 3. But my point is, there's other ways to get people Surge tokens. So that one Surge token, while it's useful, I'm not dissing it. I just don't feel like you're really getting a whole lot of new freshness with this. I feel like they are way too similar to core units that you've already got. And that's why I don't rank them sooner. A lot of times, for certain other expansions, for other factions, I've put like their second core option much higher on the list, because in some other examples, it was a lot more of a departure from the core unit that you already had. For example, I would say Stormtroopers were the first for the Empire, and then they came out with Snowtroopers, and they were a big difference, and so that was fun. Where these just feel like they're awfully similar. Now, granted, they haven't been fully spoiled either, so there could be some cards in here that end up being game changers, but still, I'm not really a big fan of the fact that it feels so much different. Now, obviously, the sculpts are going to be different. The sculpts are going to look cool, and of course, if you really like the artwork here and the sculpts, and if Phase 2 Clone Troopers are your thing, then by all means go for it. But I just don't feel like you're getting a whole lot of value there. Next up, the Crashed Escape Pod Battlefield expansion. This one is ranking pretty low on my list, primarily because it's very expensive. It's $40, and you're paying really for a terrain piece that you may not use. Now, you're getting a lot of different things in this expansion, and this is really going to depend on your playstyle and your preference. You're getting a terrain piece. You're also getting like a 2-round scenario And the scenarios can be fun. If you like thematic play and you want to play a mission rather than just a normal skirmish battle, then this might be really fun for you. Or if you really like this, like maybe you're going for a desert theme and you really like this crashed escape pod and you want that for your terrain, then great. But what makes this one great is that it's bundled with R2-D2 and C-3PO. And they are versatile. They can be used in both the Rebels and in the clones. They come with unit cards for both. It only has one R2 miniature and one C-3PO miniature, but it comes with cards for both. So you can use these in your Republic lists, which is really good. And R2-D2 is an operative, and C-3PO is a counterpart to him, and they go together. So this will be the first ever operative you can add to your list, and they're pretty effective, especially if you use them both together. The thing is, you're paying $40 for like a single unit, an operative, or for two minis basically. Because most people, my expectation is most people will buy this only for C-3PO and R2-D2. Now, you may find at some point that there are people who really like this terrain piece and that buy multiples of them and are willing to then put the C-3PO and R2-D2 up on like eBay or something like that. So you might be able to find, if you know somebody who bought multiples of these, they may, sell you at a discount their R2 and 3PO. But I seriously doubt that. The terrain that FFG is releasing is awesome, but it's also kind of late. And at this point in the game, there's already so many companies making terrain specifically for Legion that I feel like the demand for FFG to start releasing terrain now is very small. And this particular piece, I don't find that enthralling. So, I'm glad R2 and 3PO are coming with it. And also, if you're playing multiple factions, if you're playing the Rebels also, well, that makes this one maybe even a much higher priority, because now you're getting a unit that you can use in two different factions, and that's really going to elevate R2 and 3PO. But if you're just playing Republic, this is a pretty steep price for what should be like a $12 unit. So that's why I rank this one so low. Last on my list is the Priority Supplies Battlefield expansion. The reason I have this one here, now, there are a lot of expansions that I'm not including because they're just completely optional and not like the Imperial Bunker and a lot of this other stuff. There are a lot of things that you can get that are just terrain or the play mats or the paint sets. There's a lot of product for Legion, but this one, in addition to just having some terrain pieces that sub in as tokens or objectives, which are nice. They're optional, but they're nice and they look good. But this one comes with new battle cards, and a new objective, a new deployment, and a new condition, and that you can actually use in competitive games. So this one actually has some cards that are going to benefit your list building. So every Legion player would probably benefit by having one of these in their collection that they can use. Now, you don't have to buy one of these per faction. This is just upgrading your game, and hopefully it won't be the last time they do more battle cards. They've already talked about doing more in the future. So this list is going to grow and grow as time goes on. But yeah, definitely, just to recap, the first main ones, 2 core sets at least. You can go with 3 if you really want. It is a good value. It really depends on what your budget is, but generally 2 core sets and then the upgrade pack to Phase 1 Clone Trooper and then Clone Captain Rex. There are a couple more expansions that are launching very close to when the core set is coming out for when the Clone Wars core set is coming out. There's also a Phase 1 Clone Trooper expansion, as well as a Bark Speeder expansion. I put those at the very, very bottom because you won't really need any more Phase 1 Clone Troopers or Bark Troopers. And if you really do want to maximize on those, you're probably just better off getting another core set or trading another core set with somebody else, splitting one. Because really, in the Phase 1 Clone Troopers, the sculpts are supposed to be the same, and I think the only really new thing you're getting is smoke grenades, which also come with Captain Rex, so you really don't need them. And then with the Bark Speeder, I think you're getting like 1 new upgrade that I believe comes in the upgrade pack, and then you're also getting a different sculpt for your Bark drivers. So if the sculpt is that important to you, then maybe you do pick one up. I will be picking up one of everything, so if you want to watch an unboxing I've already done some of these because I got a limited selection early at Gen Con. But as far as the Bark Speeder and the Clone Trooper, I really can't recommend, just because outside, because you're getting them in the core set already. And as far as the upgrades, you're getting to get those upgrades in other places. So I really don't suggest getting the Bark and the Clone specific pack, and unless you deliberately need those for some other purpose. But yeah, not really the best value, considering that by getting them bundled in the core set, you're getting them at about half price. And that's and then so if you happen to get the core set at maybe your local game store that has a little bit of a discount or a sale going on, you're getting them at even less than half price. So for that value, you just can't beat it. So that's why I really don't recommend the Bark Speeder or the Phase 1 Clone Trooper. And I guess that's about it. I guess I didn't have pictures of the Phase 1 Clone Trooper and the Bark Speeder, but I mean, they come in here anyway. So you're going to get, it's basically the same thing. Again, the only real difference, the Bark Speeder has alternate heads for the clones that are on the bike, and then an upgrade that you can get in the upgrade pack, and then the clones have a smoke grenade that you're getting with Captain Rex. So it's not really a whole lot of reason to buy those. I actually don't really even like the idea of the smoke grenade. I think fragmentation grenades is probably the best grenade for clones. But that's just my opinion. I would love to hear what you guys think. Go ahead and let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. I want to thank you all so much for watching. Be on the lookout for more Legion videos, especially as the Clone Wars gets closer and closer. And it's going to be an awesome fourth quarter. And there's so much more cool stuff coming next year too. So hopefully you guys will stick with me for the ride. I want to thank my patrons on Patreon. You guys are amazing. So thank you so much for your continued support. And as always, have a great day.